Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Cinema Smoketography. I'm your friendly neighborhood hookologist. How you guys doing? I am by myself today because Isaac is busy. And we put a poll and asking what movies that I should talk about today. I got three options, one of which I do want to cover one day because I think it's a great movie to cover because I love comedies, which was Harold and Kumar. We got Freaky Friday, and then we had The Devil Wears Prada. And you know, I don't hate Freaky Friday. I don't necessarily love it either. It was a movie I watched when I was a kid. I thought it was funny. So we decided. Oh fuck! I'm sorry. I decided. Oh, this is a weird angle. Here we go. So I decided to watch The Devil Wears Prada with Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway. I almost forgot the actress's name. Luckily, it has it right here on my screen. Thank goodness. And I generally thought this was a whole chick flick. So I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I'm stuck watching it. It kind of sucks. I have to do this, whatever. But I am generally surprised in this movie. This is one of those movies where I think everyone should watch it. Isaac was making fun of me saying he had the movie on DVD for me to watch, but thank God it was on Max. And I I am genuinely amazed. This is a I guess this is a book. I was doing a little bit of background research on it earlier and I was listening to a couple character studies and stuff, but this is a great fucking piece of cinema. So this runway is supposed to be based on Vogue, and Miranda is supposed to be the devil, right? And honestly, she is a perfectionist and she expects nothing less from her employees. And I have worked for someone in my field that is similar to Miranda, and the scene where she just instills fear as she's walking through the elevator, getting there. No one has spoken a word of how dangerous this woman is, and she is vicious. Honestly, she is she killed it. All right, Meryl Streep just fucking killed this role. And you know what? It's not a chick flick. It's about toxic work environments, and you get the word toxic thrown around. Sorry, a lot in like social media and stuff. But this is the epitome of a toxic work environment that everyone just kind of sees it from an outside perspective. Like Andy's friends are kind of making fun of her, and Anne Hathaway's transformation from I can care less about fashion, it's just a job to me, it's gonna get me to where I wanna be. And you can see the transformation from I don't care to hey bitch, here I am. Like it's just wow. There is a lot to say about this movie. And I'm gonna try to cliff note it as best I can for people who have already seen the movie and be like, oh my god, you should have watched it years ago. Like, oh my goodness. No, dude, like this is again, I was completely blown away by it. I thought it was a chick flick, but it's so quotable, right? Like that is all. Or my favorite line from Meryl Streep was, "Don't bore me with your tales of incompetence." Right? That was just crazy. There are a few scenes that stick out. One of which is the scene where Andy is making fun of the belts. Right? So that is an iconic scene alone. Where Meryl Streep doesn't have to like physically hit somebody to break them down and destroy this woman's confidence. And it just goes to show like this woman Miranda is essentially focused the entire world around her. And as she's describing Andy's clothes that are all frumpy and you're not looking good, to destroy her, and she is so in the zone in this that she is still putting together an outfit as she's talking to her, and it's just crazy. There are a few things I didn't like about this movie. I will say that I didn't like Andy's boyfriend Nate. I think at a certain point he was just kind of being like, "Oh, you changed. You shouldn't be like this. Blah blah blah. X, Y, and Z." Like he was just so not having it, right? and then when they break up, or when the scene where Emily is getting got hit by a car. Emily gets hit by a car for her job and being replaced as the number one assistant. Because Miranda has two assistants. Andy, which is her now second assistant, which she didn't even really want the job, but it was either this or some automotive magazine, and she got the job here. And I don't know. I just think like everyone says that Meryl Streep's the villain. I think she's the real protagonist. I think that's a hot take. I know we're supposed to focus around Andy, and I've heard a few differences from the ending from this movie to the book, and how Andy goes from transformation to transformation. Is that Andy kind of did it to be, in the movie at least, try to fit in, because how are you supposed to succeed if you don't even give a fuck, right? Which I thought Nigel's conversation with her was like, well, quit. People would kill for this job. People would die for your position here, and you're just throwing it away. If you don't like it, quit. And Anne Hathaway's character, Andy, did not want to quit. She's like, no, I need to succeed. Like, I want to do it. So she transformed, and I don't like the idea that everyone is trying to call her fat. Like, you can't call Anne Hathaway fat in this movie. Like, are you kidding me? Like, no way. Is she like, or she's like not thin? I just like, okay, that's wild. And I know I don't know dick about fashion, but if you were like, I don't know. It's very interesting to see how this kind of came together, right? And how, yes, fashion is a predominantly like female role, I guess, and I what is the words I'm trying to convey here? I think it's a great way that this film did a great job at portraying how a like a female led like movie, right, could be done right. Because let's take Endgame for example, how they put all the women into one spot, right, for the power moment. Like, it was just kind of tacked on. It was cliche. This was done so well is that Miranda is controlling, and she demands perfection, and if you fail then you screw up, right? And then you're a disappointment. It struck home. Like I said, I've worked in the automotive business for a long time, and I sell cars. So I've worked for somebody like Miranda who does is so involved with their own lives, and it just man, it was great. Now, I didn't realize this movie was a book. I didn't realize this was based on a book at all. So when I found that out, and I got a few different perspectives of it, and how it's different from the movie is different from the book, because how Andy quits. For example, like Andy quit because both say that, oh, you're just, I see a lot of me in you, and Miranda's life is just absorbed by this job, right? She is the center, and they had Nigel was supposed to be, I guess, the new president of, I forgot what it was. Like, I literally just got done watching the movie, and we find out that Miranda knew about it, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna find someone else to do it instead, because I don't want Nigel to have this. And she went out of her way and was in full control, because apparently they were supposed to go under Miranda to take care of this. And when she found out, she took it back, and she's like, nope, this is how it's gonna go down. That was such a power move, and it was such a shock at the end of the movie. I'm like, no fucking way. Like, and Nigel's my favorite character, by the way. Like, he's so snarky, it's fucking hilarious. Another highlight character I would have to say is, oh, let me go put some clothes on. Put the camera on me while I'm doing it. Another highlight character is Emily, and I like how Meryl Streep just refers to Andy as Emily, and you can see that, Andy is doing such a good job at I think after the transformation from, I don't care about fashion as well, I'm gonna get involved and I'm gonna figure it out. That was a big tonal shift. Like, and it just, the movie sped up. You see Andy like not screwing up anymore, getting on point, you know, and it was such a big thing, right, for her to do that. I want to say, like, for me, like, to see that kind of transformation, it was really well paced too. It's not even that long of a movie. It's barely sitting at under 2 hours, right, with credits, and it's well paced. Like, the whole thing going to Paris, and the whole focus was Emily's got to go to Paris. She's gonna be Emily in Paris. By the way, if you want me to watch Emily in Paris and have my thoughts about that, you let me know, because I slightly kind of like that show. Yeah, so yeah, Emily could have been the first Emily in Paris, huh? And she wasn't. Oh well. Say, Livy. I don't know. I think that, like I said, there's a lot of good things to say about this movie. Um, One of which, like I said, I like the pacing. It's very well put together. I think it was done right, and it doesn't seem like it's a chick. Like, at first glance, The Devil Wears Prada. Oh, it's probably gonna be and it's about fashion. Oh, it's a girly movie. No, it is a movie that most people can relate to, if they're especially if they're in a field where they're gonna be, pushed like this. Because I wouldn't be able to do it for sure. I can't do it. I can't do what they do. Just like I'm sure they cannot do what I do when selling cars, right? So it's a very good. I want to say the word dichotomy, but I think I would be using it wrong. I think the differences between the two aspects, like, you can peer into a window. Like Andy's friends, they just kind of make fun of her, like, oh, you care about all this stuff now, like, blah blah blah, and then she just, she's loving it, Again, I think this is a top 10 movie, right? It's definitely one of those movies I wasn't expecting to like. I thought I was gonna like it and I was gonna hate it, but it's actually such a good movie. I really don't have many words other than to say, like, it's cool. Like, it's a good movie. It's not something I'm gonna watch all the time, but it is a movie. If someone tells me, oh, we're gonna watch The Devil Wears Prada, I'm like, I'm not gonna worry about it, right? I'm like, oh, I like that movie. It's a cool movie. It's so well done, and, like, apparently they're getting a sequel. So I think that's why our our the on Instagram our friend on Instagram decided to put this up, because they're getting a sequel. Um, I don't think this is what I go back to. Some movies don't need a sequel, and if The Devil Will Prada gets a sequel, I would really like to know what they do with it, right? Because this movie was so well done, and they told a tight knit story of Andy going from the fashion world to want to be a writer or for another magazine or whatever she ended up doing. I kind of like turned out after she quit, and she's starting to try to patch things up with her boyfriend, and the unrealistic expectations that this woman has. And Andy stepped up to every challenge without hesitation. She's I'm on it. Like, who can get an un like the manuscript of a Harry Potter book? And, like, this is how I know, like, this movie it's 2006 when this movie came out, right? So this is a long time ago. This is at least it's 2024, 2026, 14 years ago. This is a 14-year-old movie, right? Am I mathing right? Comment section will let me know if I'm not mathing right. But this is it for the time that this movie came out. It was a big deal. I wasn't. I didn't care about movies too much back then. Like, I watched movies when I was a kid. I didn't really start appreciating them until I got older. But I can really appreciate the story that they told. And if they make a sequel. Like, what did they get to do, right? Like, bringing back Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway for this. Like, I don't get it. I'm generally curious of what route they would go for a sequel, and if it holds up to the original, right? So that's kind of my point here. Like, I know I've been all over the place with this movie, but I will say is that some movies don't need a sequel. This is one of them, right? I do not believe that we need to get a second The Devil Wears Prada. I I also got, like, I remember watching The Office and how Michael Scott was watching The Devil Wears Prada and just started acting like Meryl Streep. I, I swear to God, like, it's so quotable and so like easy to present. And this is how I knew, like, Andy was doing something right, when she would throw her bags, and there's a whole montage of her demanding things. throwing her bag and throwing her coat on Andy's desk. And then when Andy started doing things correctly and started exceeding expectations, she throws it on Emily's desk. So Emily reverted back to second assistant because she caught mono. And then the fact that she stepped over Emily to go to Paris, right, with Miranda. And Miranda said in the car, like at the one of the last few scenes, she's like, "Oh, you did the same thing. You're like me. You stepped over Emily to get what you want because I threatened to not make you work anymore." And to have that kind of power over someone is crazy. Like, she has complete control over these people's lives. Like, people worship the ground she walks on. But that's what it seems like. Like I said, like everyone just kind of peers into Miranda's world. Miranda is the center of this universe, and everyone else just kind of circles around her in a storm of this is how it needs to be done. And it. I don't know. I just think the character of Miranda is not evil, but it is definitely something that, you know, we all had a work environment like this. I am sure that everybody has worked at some job where they had a Miranda, right? Where demanded the absolute perfection and your disappointment. And I really liked at the end, and then when they called for a reference for Andy, that Miranda faxed him and said she, out of all the assistants that she had, she was the biggest disappointment, which is on brand for her. Let's be like, yeah, I can see her saying that. But then to say, you would be stupid if you didn't hire her, which is like, what? That's so out of. It showed that Miranda really did appreciate everything that Andy did, and it feels like character growth, right? It feels because it really does feel like character growth, and what I liked about Miranda is that she is so dedicated to her job, no matter what it is, and she has a I don't give a fuck attitude. Like when they're in the hotel and they're talking about Miranda's now soon to be ex-husband, is that she doesn't care what people write about her in the tabloids because she's Miranda. No matter what she does, she is still going to be the best in her field. I really thought this was going to be like a 10-minute recording because I didn't have much to say, appearing on almost 20 minutes. Well, I'm actually impressed. And again, this is like one of those things where I went in with no expectations. Like the expectations like I'm not gonna like this. I'm just gonna have to sit through it, and I have to go through it. But this is a this is cinema. I will say that this is good cinema. And again, you're getting my actual reaction to the end of the movie because I started it last night and I finished it today as I'm doing this recording. I was working a little bit before this, so I was listening to, different takes on the movie itself. So I'm gonna flip some coals. Rare sight on the podcast, guys, where you actually see me do something other than sit and smoke. Because normally me and Isaac have everything kind of planned out ready right before. So rare moment where I'm getting up to flip coals. But again, so as book adaptations, I'm sure there's gonna be someone out there that said the book was better. There's always gonna be someone that says the book was better. But for someone who doesn't have the patience to read, and now I'm kind of curious and see the real differences between them, right? There's not many things in this world that make me go to want to read the book after the movie. But The Hunger Games made me, and I read The Hunger Games. The Lord of the Rings I cannot get through. But this is a movie I kind of want to see, and maybe we'll do a podcast on it with Isaac where we talk about the book and the movie and see which was better. But this is an adaptation that I'm totally like 100% on board with, and the fact that it is 14 years ago, no, 18 years ago, 18. This is an 18-year-old movie. This was 2006. I finally did the math. I get there, guys. But wow, it really holds up. The quality has not faded. The story they tell is not, out of place at all. It is still a movie that you can really relate to, like in this day and age too now. which is, now that I'm looking at the screen and I see it's 8. Look, I just finished it. Literally just finished. And wow, like for 18 years ago, this movie still holds up. Fucking good job. Like for wow, wow, I'm generally shook. But guys, I can praise the movie all I want. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna end up watching it, and now I'm gonna end up quoting Miranda. That is all. You're such a disappointment. And I think the other thing is that I think what really gets me is like how Andy saw herself at the end, because she does not want to be like Miranda. She's seen what Miranda's life is like. Inside the home, it's not all perfect, all perfection. That she is flawed as a person, right? That she has her own troubles at home with her husband, so on and so forth. But Andy saw something that she didn't like, and she's not doing it and not putting up with it, which is good for her. It's hard to leave a job that is so controlling and so toxic, like you just feel like you have to be there. But Andy's choice to step away to go pursue her own path in life is actually inspiring, you know. So, but I don't have much else to say about this movie. Um, I recommend it. If you haven't watched it, you should. It really does hold up. I know it's 18 years ago, but it still holds up pretty well today. Until next time, guys, that is all.